We speak English, we speak Igbo, or all kinds of languages. But when it comes to God and his dealing, God speaks in song. For Jesus is the language of God. The sonship of Jesus is the language of God. Now he uses to speak to us. In other words, God does not have a particular language he speaks to, but he has his language. What is language? The language of sonship. The language of God is the language of sonship. What does it mean? Because we have a lot of things today. Say God told me, God told me. If you bring what he said God told you side by side and examine it, using it against each other, you find out that everything he said God said fails. In other words, what did we use to text whether God said is correct or accurate? Is the language of sonship. That language, what does it mean? That language is summoned in two things. One, that God has redeemed and reflected his image and likeness in man. There is no two ways about it. That's the truth about us. That God has redeemed and reflected his image and likeness in man. Two, that the Lord has delivered us from the power of darkness, the tyrannical rule of the enemy, to the kingdom of his Son, of his love, where the love of Christ rules. The language of sonship is summarized in two things: our identity and our placement. Our identity and our placement. Very important. Our identity as the image and the likeness bearers of Elohim. Our identity as the image and the likeness bearers of Elohim. Two, our placement. We are co-seated as one with Christ in his executive authority of God's right hand. Jesus is the language of God. The language of sonship is the language of God. Everything God says now, as a matter of fact, how God communicates to us before Christ has completely changed. God does not change, but the way, the mode, and the manner and the language in which he communicates to us now. In the time past, God communicates to our fathers in the glimpses of prophetic thought. But now, he has spoken to us openly in a certain language, the language of a son, which is the language of sonship. God's language in the now is the language of sonship. What does he say? Two things: our identity, one, two, our placement. Who we are the likeness and image bearers of Elohim. Where are we? We are considered as one with Christ at God's right hand.